Hey, what's up everybody, it's S-Dot. So I'm out at the range today to test this bad boy out right here. But before I get started, I do need to make a confession. In my last video where I talked about how much everything costs on this rifle, I accidentally made a mistake. I had my sights on wrong.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Now, when I originally put them on, I had them on correctly, but a company, Tattoo, reached out to me and wanted me to try some of their iron sights. So when I went to put those on, I shot a couple videos, and then I ended up taking those off because I wasn't going to use them anyway. But then I ended up getting the riser, the EOTECH, and the flashlight, so I wasn't actually going to put the backup iron sights on at all, especially because how much this EOTECH actually costs. I don't suspect or don't ever want to have to run backup irons, but I ended up deciding to put them on for two reasons. One, I didn't want to hear from the YouTube commenter saying that I needed to have backup irons. And the other, which is probably the more realistic reason, is once you put this flashlight on, there's no easy way to get that front sight on. I would have had to take the flashlight off to put the iron sights back on. So at the last minute, I ended up deciding to throw them on. So I put them on, wasn't really paying attention. You know, I hadn't been out to the range to shoot it. I pretty much just put them on for show. Then I ended up putting on the EOTECH, the riser, the flashlight, had everything installed. And then I shot that video with how much everything actually cost. I never even noticed it. I was never paying attention because again, I hadn't been to the range. And two, I was pretty much just focused on this EOTECH and the riser itself. I never even looked or even thought about the iron sights. I recorded the whole video with them on wrong. It wasn't until I finished production, I was getting ready to upload the video that I actually noticed they were on wrong. So at that point, I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna run with it anyway. You know, I wasn't sure how many people would actually notice, but a few of you actually did notice and surprisingly pointed it out, not even being like buttheads or anything like that, but actually just being, you know, nice guys like, hey, did you know they're on wrong? I'm like, yeah, unfortunately I did, but realized it too late and I was too lazy to actually record the video again. So I ended up just sending it. Unfortunately, I ended up taking that video down, you know, not because the sights were on wrong again. I don't really care. You know, I'm not an expert and I don't think anybody's coming to this channel for, you know, to see an expert or anything like that. I mainly took the video down because it got flagged. It's really unfortunate that the video got flagged. I'm not even sure why. Again, I talked about how much I paid for this stuff. I don't think I actually talked about where I got them from.
Cap.
So because the sights were messed up and the video got flagged, I figured the sights had done enough damage. I went ahead and just took that video down altogether. But I did want to address it, let you guys know I'm not hiding anything. I did make a mistake. I would have noticed it if I ever used the backup iron sights, but I hope to never have to use them because with as much money as this thing costs, I better be able to pass this thing down to my kids. But enough of all that. We are here at the range today. So I'm going to go ahead and set up some targets and get to shooting. So I don't normally use splatter targets out here at the range, but the last time I was out here and I was shooting my AR, I had a hard time seeing where I was hitting. So I'm gonna go ahead and use them today. I normally use these at my indoor range, but I am curious to see that, you know, will I be able to see it from, you know, 10 or 20 yards away where I'm hitting on the actual target instead of having to come up and walk back and forth, primarily just because I'm lazy. So let's go ahead and see how we did. I think I already know because it is a little bit easier to see the hits looking at the splatter target. I'm hitting low, which makes sense because obviously I'm shooting with the riser and the EOTECH EXPS, which is a little bit higher. And let's see how we did over here. Not too bad for my first day actually, you know, moving around. I even almost got a bullseye there. Got a nice bunch in the A zone, a few in the C zone. I'm sure I had some flyers that missed altogether, but not too shabby for my first day, kind of, you know, moving around with the rifle. And unfortunately, I'm doing this without a sling. I don't know what's going on with my sling. I think I do know it. I dropped it in the dirt. And now the little pieces aren't actually working. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think it's this one here. When I was carrying it out of the truck, I dragged it in the mud. So now this little piece here is not staying in my rifle, so it's making the rifle kind of move around. So that means I have to actually carry my rifle instead of slinging it, which is what I wanted because I kind of wanted to practice with that. But unfortunately, we got to make do with what we got. So that's what we have. One thing to note about this rifle is these rail covers didn't do much. This thing is hot as Hades. And again, I've only been out here for probably around, it's been around an hour actually. It took a lot longer to set up. Jesus, I might have to just come out here and not record because this really slowed me down a lot. But I will need to get a better solution for these rail covers because this thing is like this thing is extremely hot. I mean, and I only shot, kind of lost track of rounds there. Maybe I said 50, but maybe even 100 rounds. I'm probably gonna come out and get some gloves for the next time, or maybe I'll put some more rail covers in all these spots that are kind of open, but you know, another issue for another day. And I ended up taking off my flashlight. It was kind of loose, so you know, I got to deal with that when I get home, but it's my own fault for not going back and, you know, torquing it down like I should have. All right, let's go ahead and have some fun now. All right, so I'm gonna actually see if I can hit the green one over here. Let's see what we got. Nope. All right, now I'm gonna move back a little bit and see how good I can shoot it. But instead of just putting little dots on, I'm gonna go ahead and waste another splatter target. So I'm gonna move back to probably, I don't know, let's say 20, 25 yards and see where I'm hitting. And then again, like I mentioned, next time I come out or next time I'm at the range, I'm gonna go ahead and actually get this thing really sighted in. All right, I'm about 25 yards away. And I want to see how exactly I'm hitting from this far out. All right, so that was about 5 rounds. And apologies on the audio and probably the camera flipping around. Unfortunately, I only have one microphone and I probably should have set it up to both my GoPro and my camera, but unfortunately, I'm not that savvy just yet. But anyways, this is from about 25 yards away. I was actually holding higher and kind of over to kind of bring my shots up. All 5 of my shots were in the A zone. So that's actually pretty good shooting for somebody like me as a novice. Now, I would love to be hitting, you know, dead center, but you know, I'm still learning this BCM, still learning rifles. Again, I'm not an expert, never taken a course, basically just learning to shoot from, you know, watching YouTube. I'm actually going to cut it for today, and I still have some ammo left, but unfortunately trying to get everything, the cameras and recording and, you know, all the other good stuff set up took more time than I expected. I probably should have planned it out a little bit better, but you know, I'm tired of waiting. I just wanted to come to the range. Thoughts on this BCM 11.5? Absolutely love it. Again, I need to put that flashlight back on, torque it down properly this time, of course, but luckily it didn't break. Other than that, I really don't have anything else for you guys, so I will see you guys back at the table.